What is going on, guys? Bretto live back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about Raw and SmackDown from this past week in the Week in Review episode 269. This is the WWE action figure setup that I set up for Monday Night Raw. About halfway through the video, we're going to be talking about a setup that I did with SmackDown. So let's talk about Monday Night Raw from Austin, Texas, the Moody Center. Let's go. Opening up the show with Miss Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley starts talking about her past and how it's haunting her. She's pissed off, and she gets even more pissed when she gets interrupted by Liv and Dom, who were in the crowd. They wouldn't confront Rhea face to face. You already know the cowards they are. They're not going to step in the ring with Rhea Bloody Ripley. But Rhea Ripley, she made sure Liv talked really loud because he was able to find them. That being Damian Priest. Damian Priest sneaks up right behind Dom and Liv in the crowd, I might add. Damian Priest and Dom fight in catering, and then here comes Rhea running up the stairs. Liv has nowhere to go. It's just an absolute brawl to open up Monday Night Raw. The brawl leads all the way back into the ring where Damian Priest would get attacked by Carlito as he's trying to put a beating in on Dom, because this would be our first match, Carlito versus Damian Priest. But what an opener. What an absolute chaos opener. I like how Rhea even said to Dom, it wasn't deep enough. I don't even know where she came up with that, but I was like, what on earth? And it led into our opening match, which was Carlito versus Damian Priest. Match was okay. As you would expect, Damian Priest does pick up the victory with the South of Heaven choke slam to the side. I love that maneuver. I think he's been adding so much impact to that lately. Immediately after the match, Damian Priest gets attacked by JD McDonough and Finn Balor. And then here comes Liv Morgan redirecting traffic, and then Rhea Ripley's music hits. Rhea Ripley comes back out, similar to last week, helps out her terror twin, if you will, Damian Priest, take out the Judgment Day. They all hightail. And then, oddly, Dominic Mysterio thinks he could take out Rhea and Damian off the top rope. Literally, after all the brawling is done, I'm like, this is not happening. Rhea almost hit the riptide on Dom. I wanted to see this so bad. We will see it, but Liv Morgan was able to help him out, pull him out of the ring. But man, I wanted to see that riptide. But what an opener, man. I love how they opened with the Judgment Day stuff. I love the Judgment Day storyline currently. And then a match was made for Bash at Berlin. It will be the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, going up against the best couple in WWE, Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. I can't wait for it. We saw one of the Wyatt 6 videos, and it was Bo Dallas doing a very eerie promo with an old-style television screen. He was talking to it, and he was basically saying, my life for you, as if he was talking about, like, Bray Wyatt. He was talking to Bray Wyatt through the screen. It was very interesting, very odd. No Wyatt 6. This was the only Wyatt 6 stuff on the show. I wish there was more. Odyssey Jones made his WWE debut. Yes, I do realize that is Mark Henry. He went up against Vincent Winey and Cora Jade's boyfriend, I guess, which I just figured out on Instagram, which is very interesting. But obviously, Odyssey Jones would pick up the victory with his little side slam, 1, 2, 3. But it's about what happened after the match is where it gets very interesting. The New Day, Xavier Woods, they jump in the ring to celebrate. Well, Xavier Woods, not so much. But then they get interrupted by the Final Testament, and then Karrion Kross just keeps calling out Xavier Woods. Dude, I know it's working, Woods. I know you see the truth. And man, I think Karrion Kross is darn right. I think he is turning Xavier Woods to the dark side, and it's absolutely working. Kofi Kingston interrupts Xavier Woods' idea for a match next week and comes up with his own idea. Kofi Kingston says, let's do a 6-man tag team match next week. AOP and Kross versus the New Day. And I also loved how Karrion Kross said, Kofi Kingston, you're obviously just trying to replace Big E with Odyssey Jones. I was like, oh my God, way to call that out. I do still think Xavier Woods will be the downfall of the New Day, and honestly, he has a right to be, because Kofi Kingston's kind of been being a piece of crap to him. He's been overshadowing him. It's just, it only feels right that Xavier Woods turns on the New Day. It has to happen. It was the Alpha Academy's Akira Tozawa and Otis going up against the American-made Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus Creed. This tag team match was shockingly amazing. Alpha Academy had this victory if it wasn't for darn Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile would attack Maxine Dupree on ringside, turning officially heel for her group, American Made, I guess. So she's officially part of the group now that she's heel. So she attacks Maxine. That distracts Otis and Akira Tozawa, allowing for the Creed brothers to pin Akira Tozawa by rolling him up, man. They didn't even do like a knockout pin. They had to roll up Akira Tozawa to pick up the victory. This victory belonged to Alpha Academy. It really did. Butch cut a really interesting interview with, I believe he was with Jackie Redmond in the crowd before the show, and he was talking about how he hates the name Butch and how he hates Sheamus because he was in his shadow for all these years, and he hates the name Butch. Don't say the name around Pete Dunne. Don't say Butch, or he will be very angry and he'll come after you. I actually really enjoyed this interview. It was a women's tag team championship #1 contenders match where Io Sky and Kairi Sane went up against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark from the Pure Fusion Collective. I guess they have a tag team name now. This match was okay. We had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn on ringside, and they would get inadvertently blatantly taken out with a super kick, so they just decided to jump in the ring and make this match a disqualification. But it wouldn't lead into their favor because it would turn into a triple threat match. Now they have to face both teams. So stupid unholy union thinking they could get out of this match. No, now you have a triple threat, you dumb idiots. But as far as a triple threat match, I'd rather see that over just a regular women's tag team match. And hopefully we see new women's tag team champions, that being Damage Control, not Pure Fusion Collective. Randy Orton snuck an RKO in on Gunther. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. Before this RKO, Gunther would absolutely piss off Randy Orton by mentioning his family, and you don't do that to a Viper. And the way he was able to hit the RKO, oddly, Drew McIntyre's music hits. And I'm like, wait, what? Why is Drew McIntyre getting involved in this storyline? What's going on here? And as Drew's walking down, Randy Orton randomly hits the RKO. I was like, oh my god, it was a distraction. It was a distraction. It didn't look like Drew was in on it because he would then get attacked by CM Punk, who supposedly had travel issues on this Monday Night Raw. He didn't. He was there. He was able to fight Drew McIntyre literally immediately after the RKO, which I thought was so interesting. RKO to Gunther, and then they start freaking fighting on ringside. It like transitioned so fast, and I was like, that was cool. Drew McIntyre was able to escape after CM Punk whacked him with his own belt. Pretty embarrassing, not gonna lie. But I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the brawl here. I enjoyed the RKO right here. Good. RKO stupid Gunther, bro. Feels good. Sheamus would be interviewed backstage about Butch's interview earlier in the show, and he would get interrupted by Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser saying it's not over between them two. He wants another match. And then you already know, Butch, Pete Dunne would attack Sheamus from behind and absolutely beat the snot out of him with a shillelagh. He really took out Sheamus, smashed his fingers on top of a case. I was like, oh my god, ow. So I could see this being a triple threat. I see them adding Ludwig in here, so it's going to be Ludwig, Sheamus, and maybe Pete Dunne in a triple threat. I think that would be really good. Ludwig allowed the beatdown, though. He's like, yeah, you do you, Pete Dunne. You do you. Beat up Sheamus. I don't care. R-Truth is an idiot. I'm not going to lie. He got a match for Miz, and who did he get Miz a match with? Bronson Reed. No, I'm sorry, Big Bronson Reed. R-Truth, what are you doing? Why would you get Miz a match? Randy Orton and R-Truth, they hyped up the Miz backstage, and Miz is like, I got this. He did not have this. One tsunami, 1, 2, 3. Miz is done. It's over. And Bronson Reed picks up the victory. After the match, R-Truth gets into the equation, and he shouldn't have, because R-Truth ate probably like 4 tsunamis, not as much as Seth Rollins last week. Security was a little better this week. They actually pulled R-Truth out of the way, like they should have did with Seth Rollins last week. But Adam Pearce, he was threatening Bronson Reed with fines and different things like that as he was doing this beatdown, which I thought was pretty realistic and pretty cool. But I like this new Big Bronson Reed thing. He's just terrorizing the locker room until he gets his championship match. I think it's cool. I like it. This is definitely the best thing Bronson Reed has had so far. It was our main event of the show for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I love the stipulation on this because we were able to see Sami Zayn pin Braun Breaker one time, which I thought was really cool. He hit him with a Halula kick, and boom, he pinned him. And then the second fall belonged to Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker would spear Sami Zayn. Boom! One fall for Braun, so it's 1-1. And then the final fall would come when Sami Zayn would jump off the top rope, thinking he's going to take out Breaker, but he doesn't, because he met a spear in mid-air. And Sami Zayn was pinned 1, 2, 3, and Braun Breaker gets the 2 out of 3 falls and retains his Intercontinental Championship. We are in the Braun era. This match was actually really good. Definitely my favorite match that they've had. They've had 3: Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and now here on Monday Night Raw, 2 out of 3 falls. This was my favorite match out of all 3 of those, easily. Really good stuff. Braun Breaker, he's definitely growing on me now that he's the champ. Where does Sami Zayn go from here? Hopefully Bloodline Civil War. That was Monday Night Raw from Austin, Texas in the Moody Center. Ranked Raw this week. It wasn't as good as last week, but it was still really good. I am going to give it a 7 out of 10. And my favorite moment was easily when Randy Orton RKO'd Gunther. Gunther deserved this so much. That cocky smile he always has on his face, Randy Orton wiped it off with an RKO. Friday Night SmackDown from Orlando, Florida. Let's talk about it. Was it as good as Monday Night Raw? Maybe not, but we still got to talk about it. Once again, they saved Roman Reigns for last, so we're going to talk about everything else, and then we will get to Roman Reigns. Crowd was hot. Show was pretty good. Let's talk about it. Opening up the show with Tiffany Stratton's Nia Jax celebration. This was very interesting. A very Queen-esque entrance. She enters the ring, and then she requests for Tiffany Stratton to bow down to her. I was like, wait, what? You also had Pretty Deadly out there. We got a little sneak peek of what will soon to be Pretty Deadly the musical. I'm excited about what that's going to be about. They were hilarious. They started like singing and stuff. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then before Tiffany Stratton could possibly bow down to Nia Jax, I don't think Tiffany was going to bow down to Nia. I don't think she wanted to. I think she wanted to hit her with that freaking briefcase. But before anything could happen, Michin Mia Yim gets involved and just starts whacking everybody with kendo sticks. She took out absolutely everybody, ruined the party, ruined the fun, if you will. and Mia Yim gains a women's championship match from this. She asked Nick Aldis later in the show. She wants a title match, and Nia Jax attacked her backstage, obviously, because she needed to get a little bit of revenge on Michin, because Michin wrecked her entire celebration here. Nia Jax was not very thankful for this celebration. Tiffany Stratton did a great job setting this up for her. I loved this interaction backstage. Before we jumped into our opening match, which would be Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade, Carmelo Hayes had a little interaction backstage with Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. I found this really freaking funny. Carmelo Hayes is like, hey, you guys coming to my after party after I beat Andrade? And then they're like, wait a minute, aren't you 2 losses down to him? Yeah, there ain't gonna be any after party. And then Carmelo Hayes is like, yeah, but they're still watching. I was like, oh, this is fire, bro. Way to bounce back. Wait, what a comeback Carmelo Hayes. I don't know. I enjoyed this backstage segment, and I had to include it, man. It was good. And then we jumped into our opening match, which was Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes 3, and I'm fine with it. Normally when they repeat matches on WWE, I'm like, oh my gosh, this again. I didn't mind it. I think they have great chemistry. I like their matches. It was a hard-hitting brawl, this match was. In the end, I felt like they needed to give the victory to Carmelo Hayes, and they finally did. So that's 2 losses in a row for Andrade. He lost last week against Santos, and this week he's losing to Carmelo. So, ooh, Andrade racking up the losses already here. Carmelo Hayes, though, on the other hand, he did win with a roll-up, so it wasn't like a knockout victory, like he hit a big finisher and he won. He just rolled him up, so I would assume we're going to see match 4, and hopefully Carmelo ties it up and Andrade doesn't go 3-1. Because I like Carmelo more. I'm not going to lie. I like Carmelo Hayes more than Andrade, but their chemistry's great. I love their matches. After the match, Carmelo Hayes was flaunting his victory a little too much, so Andrade got in his face, and it wasn't like a full heel turn from Andrade. He was just pissed off. He's like, I'm sick of this guy getting in my face. So they started brawling, and it got broken up by security and WWE officials. So yeah, this is definitely not over. We're seeing a match 4, and hopefully it goes to Carmelo Hayes and he ties it up 2-2. Giovanni Vinci is still being hyped up here on SmackDown. I love the way that they're portraying Gio. Obviously, he was in Imperium, he was in the shadow of Gunther, and hell, he was in the shadow of Ludwig too, man. So I'm glad he's going to be having his own thing here on SmackDown. He was standing in front of Ferraris, traveling the world. He just looks like a rich man, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do. What is his character going to be here on SmackDown? Naomi had a match one-on-one with Blair Davenport. Yes, I do realize that is Cora Jade. I just don't have a Blair Davenport. Nobody has a Blair Davenport, so I'm like, I'll just use Cora Jade. They look similar from behind. Anyways, this match was pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like Naomi needed this victory because they were in Orlando, Florida. That's her freaking hometown, so you would think Naomi would pick up the victory, but she doesn't. Blair Davenport picked up the victory with a big knee to the face, so she was able to knock out Naomi. 1, 2, 3. It was all over from there. Another loss for Naomi. I feel like Naomi's always losing, bro. Is it just me? But hey, good for Blair Davenport, I guess. Yes, if you guys did not hear the news, Afa has passed away, which is crazy to me. So now we have lost Afa and Sika, both wild Samoans. But yes, rest in peace to Afa and Sika, man. They did a really cool promo video for Afa during SmackDown, so I thought I'd include it here in the week in review. And we were so close to seeing the old Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens went one-on-one with Grayson Waller, the Aussie icon, if you will. This match was pretty good. We had Theory on ringside. You already know he tried to get involved multiple times, but it didn't work out. Kevin Owens wins clean! Yes! It felt so good to see Kevin Owens just win a match clean. It was like, wow, he pinned him 1, 2, 3. It was over. Pop-up powerbomb stunner. You already know. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to try to get a little sneak attack in on Kevin Owens with steel chairs, but it doesn't work out because here comes Kevin Owens' opponent for Bash at Berlin, Cody Rhodes, to help out Kevin Owens, just to even up the odds, take out Waller and Theory, and then the belt gets dropped on the floor. Kevin Owens picks it up before Cody Rhodes does, but then puts it on the shoulder of Cody Rhodes because he has respect for him going into this match. But man, they had me thinking for a possible heel turn with Kevin Owens because they had Kevin Owens with a steel chair in his hand, and then they had the camera on Cody, and Kevin was behind Cody. I was like, oh my god, here we go. Kevin Owens heel turn. We need that. We need a Kevin Owens heel turn, man. Seriously. But yeah, I'm excited for their match at Bash at Berlin. It ought to be pretty good. The Waller match, this little interaction with Cody, I enjoyed it. Legado del Fantasma had a little dinner promo at some local restaurant, and they were basically just saying, we need to refocus, and I need to beat LA Knight next week for that United States Championship. People need to be saying Escobar C. I was like, okay, basic stuff. Nothing we haven't heard already, just at dinner. And then LA Knight says, oh, that had to have been the most fun dinner of all time. He comes out in the arena, actually, so he cuts a promo out in the arena. And I thought for sure LA Knight was going to be attacked by Legado del Fantasma, but it didn't happen. LA Knight kind of just cuts a promo, hypes up the crowd, saying, I'm retaining this U.S. title. Yeah. We already know the LA Knight shtick. But yeah, their match ought to be pretty good. It's set for next week in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Hopefully LA Knight retains. Yeah. I cannot believe this stayed the entire filming process. So we got Montez Ford, Gargano, and freaking Dawkins doing this insane double team blockbuster right here. Into the match itself, this was a #1 contenders match for the WWE Tag Team Championships here on SmackDown. It was DIY going up against Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, the Street Profits. Going into this match, I was like, yeah, it's got to be the Street Profits because DIY, they just had the belts. I know their title reign was short, but they just had the belts, and I feel like they need to give it to somebody new, maybe Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They haven't seen tag team gold in a very long time, and they did. Great matchup, super hype, super hard hitting, a lot of good kickouts. This was a great match. In the end, they kind of just pinned DIY, 1, 2, 3. Tommaso Ciampa couldn't get there to break up the pinfall. And new #1 contenders for the Tag Team Championships, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Street Profits. Now they have to fight the Bloodline. I wish you luck. It's not going to happen because Jacob Fatu looks cleared to me by the end of the show. So if Jacob Fatu's in that match, the Street Profits are absolutely cooked. But as far as this match, I really enjoyed it. And what do you guys think of that? That is just insane. Solo Sikoa said earlier in the show, if Roman Reigns manages to get this Unafala away from my neck and over his, then he is the tribal chief. And Tamatanga, you must acknowledge him as well as me. I should also acknowledge him. I'm like, what? So if Roman Reigns gets that Unafala, he's the tribal chief. So later in the night, Solo Sikoa calls out Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns answers, steps into the ring, starts brawling it out with Solo Sikoa. Tamatanga jumps in, starts beating up on Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns was taking care of Solo Sikoa. This was easy work. This is easy work for the real OTC, man. And Roman Reigns got the Unafala. He did. He's about to put it around his neck, and here comes Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu with a boot around his ankle. I don't have an accessory boot, otherwise I would have loved to have put it on the figure. He comes out with the boot on his foot because he's injured from that dive that he did at SummerSlam. They do a triple power bomb to Roman Reigns through the announce desk, send him back in the ring, and they stand over Roman Reigns' lifeless body. I was like, are you kidding me? I thought for sure we were going to hear No Yeet, Jimmy Uso's entrance music hit, or somebody's entrance music to help out Roman Reigns, but nobody came. Nobody came to help the OTC, and I love this. I feel like WWE did a great job here, letting us know that Roman Reigns doesn't have anybody, and he needs to reform a good bloodline to take on this Timu bloodline. But I love the interaction between Solo and Roman. This is some good stuff, and it's only a matter of time till Roman Reigns forms an awesome bloodline, and then we see him brawl it out, possibly at Bad Blood or Survivor Series War Games. Bloodline Civil War, I'd be totally down. But yeah, this was an amazing way to end the show, even though we did see our OTC get taken out and laid out in the center of the ring. What an episode of SmackDown. Overall, not a bad episode whatsoever. If I were to rank it, I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10. It got boring at some points. My favorite moment was easily Roman Reigns being taken out, even though it was sad watching the OTC get taken out. And if you guys watched all the way to the end, you guys are absolute real ones. Comment down below OTC so that I know you watched all the way to the end. I'm going to heart all the comments that say OTC, and I will see you guys next time. Bretto Live is out.